Welcome again to the second day, the Sunday of the special Life and Free Energy Technology Conference. We will have a busy program again this morning, as usual. Actually, it's quite packed. Let's start off with energy on the mental level with Ms. Claudia Moser.
Good morning. Hello. I will give a little insight of a very special angle to the multi-genius technology of consciousness and what it has to do with energy and free energy. It is our viewpoint on energy on a mental level. That's the point. Good. More explanation to the title would be how we are creating energy from a conscious viewpoint and how we can control it. An introduction into the relevance of energy in MGT consciousness processing and a brief demonstration of the possibility to measure thought energy on a psychogalvanometer. This is the instrument we are using it. We mentioned it before. We will show and demonstrate it after the lecture. All right, so if we think about consciousness, it comes down to three main questions. What is self, what is creation, and who is creating it? To find an answer to that, most of us experience to have the need of a workable way or method to find them. That is why we are offering a package of techniques so someone can start to experience a different view of life, step by step, until those questions are answered. There's one important thing though. You will find them only inside yourself. Of course, someone can listen and learn. This I would consider the first step of more understanding. But to be certain, look into yourself, your intuition, your truth. Doing that, most of us will run into a major problem. How to differentiate between truth and thinking out of some old life experience, which is often stemming from hurt, failed actions and untruths. This thinking is energy, put there and opposed by a being, protesting against an experience which is not in alignment with what this being regards as truth. Energy is postulated particles in space. A being postulates that a concept, a thought will be manifested. You want it there and you decide it will be there. You could say it comes out of nothing. This is right. But this nothing is a potential. Is knowingness, is consciousness outside of matter, energy, space and time with the ability to create these concepts. If you give energy into a concept, you fill it with life, so it can be experienced. You are starting the manifestation on a gradient scale. So energy is not just there, it is made. In our processes, we are working with energy. More precisely, we are resolving unwanted emotional and mental energy. Our techniques allow a being to look into the concepts, loaded with old energies, and held there by one's own attention. I said before, a being is protesting wrong concepts. It is holding against wrongness out of its own viewpoint. This as well is creating energy. The postulated energy and the protest energy held against each other. This is creating mass, which can be detected and read with the psychogalvanometer. This energy I'm talking about here, this mental mass, is of course not the same as the physical universe, for example, the table, the chair. But it has the same ingredients, matter, energy, space and time. But it is less solid, more transparent. If energy is postulated particles in space, out of consciousness, there we have source, we have space, and we have energy. So what about matter and time? Matter is basically condensed energy, recreated over and over by attention, giving it the existence duration, time. You could say it is a very solid thought. The essence of our philosophy at MGT is that everything is consciousness and everything someone is experiencing is created by thought. The physical universe is created by thought right now. What this means is that particles and selves are continually being created newly. In the most pure idea, a self is a decision to separate a unit out of unity, and by that, consciousness is as well in every of these separated units. It is a decision to be something, a self, but after all it is a pretend, it is a game. This idea of every particle or thing being a self would also tie in with the idea that all energy is consciousness and all consciousness is energy. In more detail, this and other structural concepts are laid out in the Self-Explorer's Handbook, as you can see on the wall, the basic MGT publication for understanding and learning the application of our consciousness technology. The fact alone that every particle, every self, and every experience is created newly should inspire tremendous hope for all of us. It says nothing else than what we experience in our daily life has a source, and this source is oneself in a higher form. We are thinking the world, holding it in place with our beliefs and thought patterns, agreements and false data. How we can go about now with our techniques is based on that knowledge. In processing, we are looking for all areas of mental stress, for the disharmonic energies. This we refer to as charge, very subtle but still physically measurable electrical energy, which is held by the attention of the person. In the context of application, we are most interested usually in those events and experiences which are connected to unknowns and charge aspects which are often unconscious and seen as negative. This may be emotions, thoughts, or even physical sensations which are pulled into the present and traumatized. What is meant by that is that the trauma out of a former experience is unknowingly recreated and is influencing the actual life. This might lead to wrong decisions, even physical trouble, and to say the least, it can tie down attention units. This can be ended by recognizing all circumstances surrounding it. Only by exact comprehending of all real and conceptual components which are connected with such mental masses can these be resolved. And this concept, to look at something exactly like it is, as it is the way to control mental energy. By that, a being can start, change, and stop whatever it is creating. Energy can be deleted. Creations can be willingly experienced. Life can be changed. Every limiting thought or belief and the sensations connected with it robs one a little life energy. The MGT techniques are designed to reverse this process. In other words, to free the bound up energy and restore vitality. The attention is freed and is now available for reuse in life. MGT sessions, in particular on the advanced consciousness routes, are mostly done using a GSR meter. Galvanic skin resistance, or also called psychogalvanometer. This instrument helps detect such energetic disturbances in order to then resolve this by process application. The instrument itself, of course, does nothing. It's in use like we use a pen for writing or something. It's an instrument to help to lead a session and to show. Kaspar, would you put it on the screen, please? Okay. So I read some more data on it. Okay, now you see it. We have a digital version, and we also using different kinds of analog versions. Just to have a look at it. Yeah, and it's a measuring instrument. The GSR meter or psychogalvanometer is a biofeedback monitor designed for use in processing or psychotherapy, etc. It measures the galvanic skin response, change in the electrical properties of the skin, giving the operator near instant feedback of a client's general state of relaxation and immediate emotional reactions. One of the first using it in his research was the well-known founder of the analytical psychology, C.G. Jung, in the beginning of the 20th century. Of course, not in this, that's clear, and also not exactly how we interpret it, but it was used. Can be seen very nicely in a movie came out 1 or 2 years ago called Dangerous Minds. There you see them using the meter, if you're interested in that. So that's the one we are using. Kaspar, would you like to say something to it?
Yeah, we can maybe. Am I on here? Hello. Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll make a little demonstration. Magdalena. We make basically the thing we need to demonstrate is that certain thoughts and whatever is attached to it can be shown as a deflection of the needle, which will be like the needle goes to the right. The needle is the red, the red line. Yeah, the red line that's visible. So if you just think of some things that happened today, and then I'll take something and yeah, that one. What do you think of? Oh no, you just note what you thought of. Yeah, okay. So now again, let's see. So go over these things. Yeah. Now, what did you think of now? You the same thing? Okay. So you see, we got a repeat. There was a little deflection of about 1 centimeter to the right, and then there was a deflection of about 1 centimeter to the right, and then I asked her to note what she was thinking of, and then when she was thinking of it again, you got another reflection like that. I mean, that's one thing that shows you subjectively. So now we can take somebody else who wants to try this out here for a moment.
Kate,
Kate, yeah,
everybody,
Kate, come over here and let's see how this goes.
For explanation, the gadget, you have a can in your hand. That's the contact, and a very immense small amount of electricity is by that running to the system, but not only through the body. It's also like it's the whole system. It's the aura. It's what you think on, and by that you really can see on a physical instrument a mental thought. That I said before, it is the same material as a table. It's matter, energy, space, and time. And kind of the proof is the meter, because you really can see here, if you look at, you come close to a mental mass, you see it on the meter, you learn how to read it. This up here, the numbers, is called the tone arm. And if the numbers go high, there's more mental mass right now in the universe, in the sight, the attention of this being. By having what we call reads to the right, it goes down. And so you work down this mental mass until it is resolved. It's really, you really can see it like that. In our processes, we really have one definite rule. We don't get up after 1 hour. We get up when a mental mass, which is right now in the attention, is solved by it is gone. The numbers are down. The meter shows a special reaction, which we call floating needle, which means you can create it and discreate it. You can look at it and resolve it again. You don't put it there, look at it, and stick to it and keep putting it there. You are cause over this energy again, and a beautiful cognition, really a new insight to what you are looking about. You have a cognition, how it is for you, what your truth is about it, how you put it, this negative experience there in the first place. And you feel very well, you feel relaxed, released, you are happy, and then we stop a session. Did you have a question, Katja?
Yes.
Oh.
Is it used for inducing hypnosis?
No, not at all. It's a way to do it in a complete. It's a way to do it in a complete conscious way, very clear. It's only clear communication. It's the being. What we use is, you could say, a basic meditation, which is just a kind of concentration. What you learn before you can start processing, just to be there as yourself and control your thinking. So you are able to put your mind on one thing we are working right now, and not 500 ideas are coming in at the same time. That it's a concentration. It's definitely the opposite of hypnosis, I would say, very clear.
If you are with someone who wants to learn hypnosis,
Yes.
and then you hold a meter and he can see when you're in a kind of state who is quite okay for the hypnosis. Because I did once, and I thought, but it was also with the fingers, holding an instrument, and he could see from the needle in which state I was, if my mental activity was. I had to do breathing exercise, and then he could see if it was okay to start with the hypnosis. But
all right. There might be a similar use, yeah.
Yeah, there is something like a very light form. It's like called the alpha state, which is actually a very low level of hypnosis, but it's hardly what we call hypnosis in the classical sense. Now, there is another aspect which I may use the opportunity to clarify, is that this procedure may bring up, like, your conscious of certain contents of the unconscious mind. And of course, there could be old hypnotic or unconscious moments could come to the surface, and you can become aware of that. So that's like another aspect to it.
Next demonstration. Katja, I think, would like to try it.
Let me do something. First, I have to ask you permission. I will give you a small hurtful moment, an experience where you. So I will do this, so you feel a slight hurt, right? Okay. And I look at the needle. So, you see it. Okay. So now don't look there, and just remember back this squeeze. You know, this what you felt there. You see, there you go again. The others can see it now. Okay, now think of it again. Just like a little re-experience of that moment. Well, it's gone. You know, like, in other words, she looked at it one more time, and it was enough to actually completely get rid of it. Now, sometimes you may notice that it takes 3 or 4 times to think back, and that is what we call processing, where you process that moment until it's gone.
The hurtful things and the pain, for example, is not always at the surface, but unconscious. So, but you see the same movement of the needle, and you say, okay, this thought, and then, okay, look there again, and then you see it again and again and again, till you see it in the full picture, and then it resolves, you know. So, and now it's just instantly, because it's conscious, a conscious moment, and you can just see it at once, you know.
Okay, so now think, we can do some more. If you just think of some things that happened, like this morning, you know, and just think of different things, and you have to hold the can pretty still, though. Hey, don't squeeze or anything, just to hold it still, because that's the. Okay, so again, like, think of things, what happened this morning. No, nothing dramatic, it looks like. There you go, yesterday. Okay, now you know what you thought of, right? Okay, so now just think of some other things. Okay, and now just think again of overall yesterday, what happened. Different things. Is that the same? Was that the same thing you thought of there? No. There was another one. Okay, let's try again. Think of things from yesterday. Now, could that be? Was that the same one? Okay, well, you see, like, you can see it was the same size of read, and that's how you can identify a particular charged thought or a little bit where you have attention on. That was basically the idea to show you that. We showed basically that in the first demonstration it was that you can discharge something, that the read disappears, and this was more like to detect a particular thought or a thing that happened that is charged. So we see a reaction, and then we can find what to process on that.
And I would like to say something. Of course, I mean, that's you have to learn to use something like that, no doubt about it. And that's one, of course, of our education and courses, because we are aiming for teaching people to be able to use the method themselves. And then we are guiding them, but they can do what we call solo processing, solo sessions, so they can work self at home. Why we are like using the digital version is also because the sessions can be recorded and can be sent in, so they don't have to be here, they don't have to pay for expensive or not expensive, but professional sessions. They learn to do it, and once in a while then they might need a professional session, then we do that. Yeah, but you have definitely to learn how to read this instrument like all other gadgets, of course.
Like
yes,
learning
please,
to drive a
hang
car.
on. Kasper, hang on. What? Yeah.
Is it the happier the thought, the higher the figure, or
The opposite.
it's the opposite?
Say it again.
The happier the thought, the higher the figure. But she just told me that is the opposite way.
It's not the happy thought. It's about if you are. It's even not about happy or not happy. It's about if you are in alignment with what is your truth as a being. What you would like to experience. Some beings might be very adventurous and would like to adventure the most exciting movies. So you get it? Okay. So, but it has to be in alignment what you would like to experience in life. And if you protest it, that is the point, and that is the angle where we go in with the attempt, so this being can change this aspect in life.
I see,
Yes.
understood. Thank
Cool.
you very much.
Did you say happy or heavy?
Happy. Happy.
Good. All right. Something else to answer or to demonstrate? Yeah, Kat. And you then. Okay.
I was thinking on EFT,
Yeah.
to discharge the emotional aspect of when thinking to an element, how much it hurts, or
Yes.
on a scale of 10, and then after the session you say it's only 4 or 3. Does it has a link with it, or?
Well, at the emotional discharge, you can see on, as I said, when these numbers go lower, and the way this needle behaves. There you can read it. Yeah.
You can practically say that it is finished, the subject is discharged, when the needle shows a sine wave for a harmonic motion, which is a left-right floating, which is very typical, and that's always when the subject has been fully discharged, that needle manifestation occurs, which gives us a very reliable indicator, and that is confirmed then by the person saying, hey, wow, I just realized so-and-so, or hey, that's totally gone, this weight of my shoulder. Oh, wow, So it's obvious.
Okay, good. Elias, you wanted to say something? Yes. Take the mic, please. Thank you.
So there are both ways, right? The needle
Yes.
is going in both ways. Why both ways? Or what's
Both
the
ways.
difference?
It goes to the left and the numbers go higher if the mass this being is looking at is right now going bigger and more tense. You know, I think most of us are masters in not looking somewhere, putting it in an unconscious corner. And this is aimed to now, okay, now it's time, I'm looking at something, and by that, and you come closer, and the attempt to do that, the mass first gets more. So it rises, it goes up, now it's on 3, it might even go up on 6 or something like that, because it really goes heavy.
Yeah.
And then you start to solve it.
There's another thing which I'm just putting on the counter, like actually there's another way to measure it. You see this number flashing on and on. So now the counter, as the needle moves to the right, you see the counter goes up and it goes again. I'm just doing it now manually. Oh, no, it doesn't count, yeah. That's true. Yeah, right, because the manual is subjective, but you see it going up, right? So for a session, you could count up the total downward motion, which gives you somewhat of an indicator of the amount of discharge or emotional discharge that happened, which would then correspond to what you were thinking of.
Good. Some more questions?
Okay.
All right. So thank you very much for listening.
All right.
Thank you.